Welcome to Penny for Your Shots, conversations and cocktails with brilliant women. I'm your host, Penny Fitzgerald, and I believe the best stories are the ones shared over a glass of wine or a cocktail. Each week, I sit down with women who've said yes to building something meaningful, often after years of putting everyone else first. We talk business, big dreams, and the mess in between. And of course, a few favorite drinks. So grab a glass, get comfy, and let's pour ourselves into Penny for Your Shots. Today's guest is Emily Hodson, the powerhouse head winemaker at Veritas, one of Virginia's top wineries, and she's about to celebrate her 25th vintage. Emily's journey from infectious disease researcher to award-winning winemaker is packed with heart, science, and a whole lot of grape wisdom. She's also behind the wines at Merrie Mill. That's one of the wine camp stops this year, and I cannot wait to sip her creations next month. If you've ever wondered what really goes into making great wine, or just love hearing from women doing big things in their field, you're going to adore this conversation. Emily is smart, humble, hilarious, and seriously inspiring. Let's pour a glass and dive in. Here is Emily Hodson. Hi, Emily.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Super. Thank you.
So great to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So let me give a little background for my listeners. We are coming to Virginia wine country for wine camp this summer. So excited to see you and taste your wines.
Yay.
And you are at Veritas and Merrie Mill. Do you make wine for other wineries as well?
So my first vintage was 2001, and that was for Veritas. So I've been making wine for Veritas this will be my 25th vintage.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's gone by really quickly. Then my brother and my sister and I also own Flying Fox Vineyard and Winery. So that's a small little boutique. So I make that here as well. And then I'm also the consultant winemaker for Merrie Mill.
Wonderful.
Keswick. So yeah, it's really fun because even though Keswick really isn't that far as the crow flies, the growing conditions and the way the grapes express themselves are completely different. So it just gives me a more breadth of experience as far as, the rainfall over there, and just kind of thinking outside of the box and learning a new vineyard is humbling, because you think, I've got this, I can make Cab Franc with my eyes closed, and then you go when you go over to Keswick and you have to rethink a few things. So it's been a really nice part of my sort of winemaking story.
Wow. And when you say Keswick, you're talking about the region or the area there in general, right?
Yep. Keswick is that area. There's a few wineries out in Keswick, so growing. So yeah, but Keswick is, as a region, is not that far from Afton or Crozet, which is my kind of closest town here. But the grapes express very differently.
I imagine. Well, okay, so a lot of my listeners are wine lovers and have come up in the wine industry. Most of us coming to wine camp have pretty good wine knowledge, some more than others, and all of us love it. So
yeah, what's not to love?
Exactly. But I don't want to skip over your background either, though, because it's such a great story of how you came to become a winemaker.
Sure. Yeah. It's funny. I was just telling this story yesterday. Winemaking found me. I didn't find my first career was in infectious diseases. So I have a master's in epidemiology, and I hit a point in my life, like a lot of us, where I just was like, this isn't quite working out for me. So I knew I needed to kind of look around in the job space and see, what other aspects of infectious diseases I could work in. And I called my parents. I grew up in Florida, and they said, sure, you can come home, have home base for a few months while you find your next job. But ... we just bought this farm in Virginia. We're moving to Virginia, and we're going to plant grapes and open a winery. And I thought to myself, whoa, my parents have lost it. So I still came here. I moved to Afton in 1999, and I kind of I helped my parents, like, because they were back and forth from Florida. So if Chris Hill was coming, our vineyard consultant, I would meet with him, take notes, and just help facilitate their vision of starting this winery. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I fell in love
wow.
with the people. I fell in love with irrigation and agriculture, and it just never was sort of a path that I saw as an option. And so as I just kept working on this project with my parents, I just realized that I adored it. And there's a lot of infectious diseases in winemaking. Not really, but there's good yeast and there's bad yeasts. You can have good populations of mites and fungus out in the vineyard. You can have beneficials that are good, but if it swings the wrong way, you have to really, look at your systems and evaluate what's working and what's not working. So there's a lot of that too. And then just agriculture and farming, I didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy that. And then on top of that, the creative aspect of making wine and fermenting things and having every vintage just be slightly different, all wrapped up into something that I am just so thankful I get to call my job.
That's fantastic. Well, I think most of us who are outside of the industry, or most people who are coming to it new, think it's such a romantic notion. The idea of owning a vineyard or the idea of making wine. It's just so artsy, artsy, mixed up. But it just seems like it would be this creative process, but there's so much science behind it.
It really is. There really is so much science behind it, so much grit behind it. Just like being out in the field, bug bites, like
the non-glamorous side.
It's a strange job, actually, just the amount of time you spend in the field and then also in the cellar with barrels and hoses and I'm basically in food production, so that's the non-glamorous side of it, but in the end, that's my favorite part, is the cellar work, the fermentation, the processing of wine. Fermenting grapes to wine is like the coolest job ever. Packaging and filtering and going to bottle, maybe not my favorite part of the job, but definitely necessary. Like, I can't just ferment things. I also have to order labels and capsules and corks and make it all fit.
Wow.
Hit a production schedule, and there's a lot of. I think the other side of it is there's also a lot of logistics. So it's not just, oh, my Chardonnay is ready, I'll pick my Chardonnay. I have to make sure I have tank space for that Chardonnay coming in and the next day's grapes coming in. And so there's like this long-term planning of how much fruit is out there, how does it fit in tank, and then where is it going as far as like our lineup of wines, right? So if I'm not making a Chardonnay, I have to find somewhere for that Chardonnay to be in a wine somewhere in the cellar, whether that's sparkling or a dessert wine. So there's a lot. It's a lot
Yeah.
but it's fun. It's super fun.
It sounds like it'd be a new thing every day.
It is. That's the beauty of this job. It's very seasonal. It's cyclical. And you never really know what you're going to do on any given day, and it changes a lot. And so that's nice. It's really.
Hello, friend. Let's be real. When's the last time you did something just for you? Enter Wine Camp 2026. We're talking wine tastings, fire pit chats, sunset dinner cruises, and zero cooking required. Just show up, sip something fabulous, and reconnect with the version of you who loves adventure, sisterhood, and a glass of local Riesling in hand. Sweet, dry, or both. No judgment here. We're heading to New York's gorgeous Finger Lakes, July 31st through August 2nd. And yes, it's as dreamy as it sounds. Secure your spot at pennyforyourshots.com/winecamp. Don't wait, room options are limited, and my crystal ball says we're going to sell out. Bring your besties or fly solo like the fabulous free spirit you are. You'll leave with new favorites either way. Wine Camp 2026 is calling. The only question is, are you in? Find out more at pennyforyourshots.com/winecamp. Gosh, I mean, hearing you speak about all the different parts of it. So you're a scientist one day, you're a farmer,
Mhm.
you are a owner, manager. You have to have the business knowledge, the project management, the logistics, the gosh, even the buying, the purchasing of the bottles, the labels, and going through all of the legal hoops that you have to go through to get
Yeah,
the labeling completed and all of that.
correct.
Do you have a team that helps you with all that stuff or
I have a fabulous team. I do. I have I work with my brother-in-law, Elliot Watkins, and he's basically running all of our sparkling program. So he's taken like a big giant piece of it. And that's worked out so great for both of us. And then I have a lab tech that does all of my lab work. We do that all in-house, so the more science part of it. And then I have Chris and Kelsey who do basically all of the production work for me. And for example, like yesterday, I was ordering capsules and I would go to Kelsey, how many gold capsules do we have left? And she would go and check and do inventory on what was left. And then that allows me to put together the order for what we need for June and July. And so, yeah, I have a really wonderful team. And then I also have Covey, who is, I like to call him my vineyard liaison, but he's kind of more out in the field than I am on the daily. So he's my boots on the ground out in the vineyard, and he'll come to me if there's a problem or if there's a good thing or just something new. We have an invasive pest this year that's just gotten to Virginia. It's kind of traveling from the north south. And so he'll, give me updates on spotted lanternfly and, what it looks like out in the vineyard. So yeah, there's a bunch of us, not to mention tasting room staff that are running, point of sale and all of the upper management, which keeps all the wheels turning. And our wine
right?
manager and our marketing manager. And
Oh my gosh.
we like to we call ourselves the Veritas family because we all kind of try and sit down and eat lunch together as much as we
Oh.
can. Just share sort of what's going on throughout the property. And so it's really great. And like I said, I think we have just such a great team in all aspects of
Mm.
Veritas. So
You'd have to. I mean, there are so many different components and moving parts and gosh, yeah, the hospitality piece of it too is
mm.
something I didn't even think about before, but absolutely in the tasting room and making guests feel welcome and want to order your wines and
Take it home and
mhm.
have a fabulous experience while they're here. In Virginia, we're so lucky to have just such a great agritourism industry where we do have these tasting rooms and the space for people to come out and be with their family and sit and throw frisbees and enjoy wine grown here. And I think there's a certain magic to it that people can feel, but it's hard to put into words. When you're just sitting having rosé that was grown here, somehow I feel like you can tell tastes better.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes sense that it would if it's an estate grown.
Mhm.
Yeah. Not only the terroir, but just the locality of it, the romance of it, it's a
Surrounded
faint.
by vines. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I cannot wait to come see you guys.
Yeah, it's such a good camp too. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so Virginia has really become known for Viognier, Cabernet Franc. Petit Verdot is another um, really well made, well done grape in Virginia as well, right? Are there others that I'm missing that we shouldn't miss while we're there?
Yeah. Uh, Petite Manseng I have a love-hate relationship with Petite Manseng. We're growing it beautifully here. I haven't quite found my happy place. It has such high sugar and such high acid that I'm still fiddling with stylistically where I want to be with the wine. So some years I'm making it off dry, so just a touch sweet. Some years I'm trying to make it totally dry. And so I'm still
Uh-huh.
evolving my own personal style and with the grapes that I grow with that wine. But what I love about Petit Manseng is just its natural acidity. We're so
Mm-hmm.
humid and warm, that is one of the things that we struggle a little more with is bright acidity. So
Hmm.
anytime I have a grape that brings that naturally, I'm gonna keep working on it till I get it right. And you said Cab Franc, right? Yep.
Yeah.
But Cab Franc I love in so many different ways. Viognier, I grow and produce a lot of Viognier. Some of my peers, they have their love-hate with Viognier. Um, I just adore how Viognier is expressing on my farm. Just fresh fruit bowl really has its
Mm.
own fingerprint, and so I've really enjoyed working with Viognier. I think a lot of people are playing with Tanat, again,
Oh,
similar to Petit Verdot, just a big ink
yeah.
red. And one grape that I have seen recently that if I was planting, I would plant. I see Virginia just recently doing Albarino so great.
Mm.
Every time I've had an Albarino in Virginia so far, I'm like, that is awesome. I would plant that grape here. So that I think that's going to be an up and comer. Um, and as soon as spotted lanternfly moves out, I will probably myself plant some Albarino, which makes no sense because I already have Sauvignon Blanc. So I already have a white grape kind of already in that space.
Uh-huh.
But I think we're making some beautiful Albarino. And so I want to get the
Mm.
opportunity to do that myself too.
Yeah. Such a nice summer sipper.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So expressive too. And Um, I think, from what I'm reading in the media and everything as well, is that, not to talk about the cons in the wine industry or the hardships in the wine industry, but the whites seem to be doing better than the reds, just as far as, if there is a dip, the whites are seeing less of a dip. I'm not sure economists can exactly explain it, but that also encourages me to look at alternate white varieties
Oh,
along the
sure.
way. So, yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, and I don't know. I feel like any dip is temporary.
sure.
People are going to come back to wine because I mean, it's been around for how many thousands of years?
Exactly. And we're not going anywhere.
No.
We love what we do. We've invested in all these vines. It's not a commodity. It's a craft
No.
lifestyle. So
And a
yeah.
grocery line item for most of us.
Oh
So
yes, exactly. I was just listening to a podcast this morning. Oh, I can't remember the name of it right now, but something in my cart where they really were talking about, wine and wine's place in a shopping cart and how,
Mhm.
it's consistently kind of on the list in the shopping cart. It was a really interesting podcast, but I agree with you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, getting back to varietals, Cabernet Franc, Cab Franc, that's one of my very favorites.
Mhm.
I absolutely love it. It's
Yeah.
elegant and it just is so food friendly and very, I mean, you can have it, one of my favorite pairings is a second glass.
That's so good. I haven't heard that before. I love that. I'm going to use that. My
Yes,
favorite
please.
drink is a second glass. No, I feel the same way, and it's really interesting. You can't get very many winemakers to agree on very many things, but we do all agree on Cab Franc in Virginia. We're all really enjoying making that wine, as an elegant, structured wine. We're enjoying using it in rosé. I mean, enjoying using it in sparkling. It's just so robust and it's so, so unique to Virginia and so happy. The grape is just so happy in Virginia. We're not fighting, like it's
Yeah.
producing well and it's not high maintenance and just making
Mm.
solid high quality wines. And so many people um love Cab Franc. And now that they know about it, and
Yeah.
so I'm happy about that because I
Me
do too.
too.
I
Yes,
do
I know. The more is better when it comes to Cab Franc.
too.
Nice. Um,
I had one wine dinner a couple weeks ago where one of my courses was just Cab Franc. It wasn't paired kind of along
really?
your thought processes. Um, I had a 2017. Oh no, I think it was 2007. Anyways, doesn't matter. I had an older vintage Cabernet Franc that I just poured as one of the courses just so we could sit and talk about it. And And it was 100% Cab Franc. And that was the first time I'd actually done that in 25 years of wine dinners. It's just like, this course is this wine. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it was worth it. It was worth taking the time to just, you know, have the wine be the what we talk about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice. Well, and with varietals too, if listeners are out there trying to figure out, okay, what does this taste like? What is it? How do you compare it? I was a wine judge for many years and still judge the Iowa State commercial wine competition, but there are other competitions that I judged. I had some Virginia wines in the Jefferson Cup
Oh, okay, yeah.
Invitational. Yeah,
Mhm.
years ago. But one of the best ways to learn about a varietal, I feel, is to have a flight of them, all the same grape, 100%, maybe 7 different Cab Francs, and you'll really get to understand, okay, this is what that's supposed to taste like.
It's so interesting that you say that. I think it's the only way you can learn not only what you like and dislike, but the different expressions of a grape is to have a
Mm-hmm.
number of them side by side. Because if you have one at a time, you don't have reference points. So you
Right.
like, oh wow, this one's so floral because you've got nothing next to it that's more oaky. And I really feel like that's the only way to learn the nuances of a grape and also of your specific wine preferences is to have.
Right.
And I think, we see this a lot in tasting rooms, or I see it a lot at wine dinners. I always feel like people are so hesitant, or feel like they don't understand wine. And I've always wanted to, and I've always tried to convey, like, um, it's what you like. It doesn't matter what you're supposed
Yeah.
to like. And I think I've thought about for a while kind of putting together a wine education, not learning wine, but learning what you like. Do you like sweet?
Yeah.
Do you like dry? What do those words mean? Do you like oak? Do you not like oak? Do you like oak in whites and not in reds? Like just giving people the tools to have all those wines side by side and say like, oh, I really like high acid whites, or I like soft reds, soft fruity reds. And what is that? Is
Mm.
that Malbec? Is that, what are those grapes? And just helping people figure out their wine personality. And I think you've seen that a little bit online with some of these wine clubs where they're doing cards a little bit more to help people understand what they like and don't like. But it's so important. And it's not focused on enough, I don't think.
Yeah. That's
Mm.
a great way to look at it because it can be intimidating, right?
Mhm.
You walk into a
Yeah.
wine shop or in a winery or a grocery store and you see all the bottles on the wall. You don't know where to start.
I don't even,
Yeah.
even as 25 years in the industry, sometimes I'll walk into the wine warehouse and I'll be like, I need a Syrah. And I will let them guide me and take me through. I'm not even gonna, I'm perfectly willing to accept somebody who knows that library of wines in the store. And they
Oh,
love,
yeah.
yep. And but it's really interesting because I think for so long there was kind of a wine, not snobbery. I don't mean it that way, but like you had to kind of know and understand things, and everybody was a little intimidated because
Uh-huh.
I mean, some of these labels are hard to figure out.
Yeah.
So how are you supposed to know if you like Viognier when all it says is Condrieu, So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but all that aside, I think it's so important to have wines side by side. But I guess it's easy for me to say that because that was my job. Hard. It's hard to be in a situation where you are able to have five wines side by side, all Cab Francs, either from the same region or different regions. Like
Exactly.
it's hard to open
It's
all those.
expensive.
It is. It is. It
Yeah.
is.
That's when it's nice to really, get out there and visit the wineries,
Mhm.
and taste them side by side. The ones that you have in your portfolio, try those side by side. And then, you get to, you start getting a feel for a sense for what you really like and what you don't. And it's helpful.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And some of the intimidation can even be like, well, how do I pronounce Viognier? I don't even know, that.
I
And then
tell
the
you.
label itself, all of it is so, so much.
It is a lot. And, I'm in a kind of a business sphere right now where I'm looking at um, with a board, really trying to develop some grape varieties for Virginia, um, and that have a level of resistance to the funguses and molds that are just natural here.
Hmm.
Grape breeding project. And in the process of doing that, I've been introduced to a lot of different hybrids that I didn't know about or I didn't know existed. And, I'm obviously looking to make a new grape. I cannot tell you how hard it has been for me to remember the names of all these hybrids. And it's humbling because and it also makes me really understand the consumer so much more is like when something's new, like Merlot Canthus or Sorellus, and there's all these other grape varieties that I don't know very well that I didn't grow up with. I can't remember their names and I can't remember how to say them. So it really makes me understand how hard that must be from the other side where it's not your daily job. It's just something that you're in and out of. Like I do this on the daily. And I had a hard time, I still am having a hard time sort of cataloging and remembering some of these grapes that are new to me. So props to all my Virginia wine fans that have embraced Viognier and can say it kind of well. I'm so proud of it because we definitely went from the late 90s with having to explain Viognier to everybody that walked in the door to now
Hmm.
people come in and say, "Do you have a Viognier?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do."
Let me just pour you some.
So, yeah, no, I think that I've really watched a consumer base, a group of people, I'd say in the mid-Atlantic, learn some new grapes over the last 20 years. And so I'm
Yeah.
excited to do it again.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And the consumer is getting, I think, more educated, and our palates are getting more sophisticated as we try more wine.
And the go local movements have been
Mm.
really foundational in people seeking out new and sustainable and regenerative and new practices and farming practices and all of that kind of woven together has really allowed us as a region to say, hey, have you tried Petit Manseng? Probably never heard of it, but it's really good and it grows great here. So give it a try. And people are absolutely willing to. And then
Nice.
they kind of wrap their arms around it and it becomes like their new favorite wine. And I don't know, it's been fun to watch the industry shift a little bit. And
Yeah.
it's not the first time I'm going to see that in my lifetime.
Hmm. Well, it's nice to have something unique, like a
Yes.
petite Manseng, to to have, as a consumer, if you're able to get a wine like that
Mhm.
and have it be your house wine.
Yes. No, I know. Not
Yeah.
not Chardonnay. I make some really good Chardonnay too, but it is nice to have sort of to understand a region, right? That's very
Yeah.
specific to like what's in your backyard and what your, neighbors are planting throughout the Commonwealth. And so that does it feels more honest or more valuable than
Hmm.
Chardonnay, but Chardonnay is really good too.
Yes, I have some really good friends who that's their favorite is
Yep.
Chardonnay. So, but is the style a little bit different? What style do you typically follow for your shards?
So the interesting thing with Chardonnay, it makes some of the best wines I've ever made have been a Chardonnay base.
Wow.
It, it, how do I put this in a short segment? Some of the best wines I've made are Chardonnay, classic, beautiful, layered, elegant. Um, when I'm working with Petit Manseng, for example, is a little more obtuse. So as I said before, higher acid, higher aromatics. Um, roasted pineapple and papaya, really rich and layered,
Mm.
and more angular. Where Chardonnay, they're just in wine style, they're just completely different wine styles, which is fabulous because they're not emulating each other. So we need both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there is a place, for me with Chardonnay, when I have a good Chardonnay year, I want it in some beautiful oak and I want it on lees and I want to build structure. And that's just so classic and it just feels so good. Petit Manseng, if I wanted to do something similar, I don't think I could make anywhere near that wine with a Petit Manseng. I've got to have um, my artistic direction has to be different because that wine, the Petit Manseng grape doesn't fit in that program of
Hmm.
it can. And, for example, Michael Shaps is doing a very beautiful dry Petit Manseng that doesn't have all the angles, all the obtuseness. But that I feel like that's his site. I feel like that's where those grapes are grown.
Oh,
Like he
oh, okay.
did that. I feel like my grapes are placed in a much hotter, much drier vineyard, and so they're more aromatic and um, uh, they're just expressing so much. So I have to just go a different direction. It's all about knowing your grapes.
Yeah, they have a lot to say.
Ew. I sound like a psycho. But it's
That's a
true.
good thing. You got to have a little crazy in there to keep it
Uh,
interesting.
it's true. I know, you do have to have conversations with your grapes and they can't always do what they've always done. And you have to really just keep evaluating, the quality that you're producing, what's coming out of the vineyard, whether it's quantity or quality. And you always have to just keep reevaluating every year, even just looking at how much rainfall you've had throughout the year. You start having ideas about, okay, this has been the driest I've ever seen it. I'm gonna need to start thinking about, yeasts with slightly higher alcohol tolerance, or I'm gonna have to really think about managing fermentations well because, there's just so many things that as I go into every vintage, I am thinking through is like, how am I gonna put this all together?
Yeah.
So
That's where a lot of experience comes in handy, right? Because you've seen some of those things before, like a dry year, a hot year, a wet year.
certainly. I mean, I used to fuss in my early days, when every year would be there would always be a monkey wrench somewhere, always be
Mm.
something different. I'd be like, I thought I had just figured this out. And but now it's my favorite part. Now, paying attention to those details and highlighting the high points and being able to manage the low points, that's the part I love the most. And so
Mm.
that year to year variation actually allows me to be even more creative because you're constantly kind of thinking through, okay, that's what I would have done if it was hot and dry, but I don't have hot and dry. So what do I do when it's cool? Like
Yeah.
so that's the best part. And I think that's what makes Virginia, I think that's why everybody's so excited about Virginia. I think not only do we have these, beautiful vintage variations, but you've also got a group of winemakers that adore that and want to lean into all our vintage variations and all the stories of, what happened in 2017 and what happened in 2020 and what does that look like and how does that express in this wine? And I think that's the fun in this industry right now.
Mm. How does soil sample or figure into all of that too? Because you've got a lot of different soils around you too in your area.
We absolutely do. Even on this farm, which is, 150 acres, the soil from the front entrance to the top meadow is completely different.
Mm.
Um, I think ultimately, some of the best vineyards in Virginia, we've done a really good job of finding soils that drain well, whether they're
Mm.
on a slope so the water just falls off, or whether they're just a more porous soil so the grapes don't have wet feet. I think that is how the soil is expressed more than anything, is that ability to process the copious amounts of water that we do have. I am very thankful for all the rainfall and humidity we have. It makes it slightly harder to farm, but we're never, water shortage is scary. And so
Mm.
I'm always thankful for the rain, even when it's making my job challenging. Um, but yes, I mean, certainly, my Cab Franc that's up on the top in, granite-based schist in a very sandy loam is very, very, very different than the Cab Franc I have down in the lower elevations. And elevation is a part of that too, but really the lower elevations have a more clay in the Edneytown loam, and they express so differently. And, in a hot, dry year, the in the hottest, driest years, the vines that are up on the top with very little water reserves are actually stressed. So in the hottest, driest years, they might not actually express as well as kind of lower where the soils are holding just a little bit more water capacity. So there's so many different things, but that's why it kind of moves around a little bit depending on the vintage. And just having your grapes in different aspects and different soil types just is just different colors on your palette.
Mm. You're making me very thirsty.
Okay. And I was talking about Cab Franc too. So
Of course. Yeah, for sure. Gosh. Okay. So I've got a range of people that I'm sure will have, some questions we can get really nerdy about it, and I love that. And then some questions might be like, well, how does a hot year affect a grape? Because, it really, like, the higher the sugar content, the higher the alcohol in the finished product. But how do you gauge for all that, or how would you describe how, the heat and how all of that affects what you're
Yeah,
doing?
so the interesting, this is a very good question. Thank you so much. In the hottest years, that's why I said hottest, not hot. In the hottest years, the vines will get stressed, and they'll get stressed and they'll close. I'm going to be nerdy now.
That's good. I love it.
So the leaves, the stomata and the leaves will close and they'll stop respirating just to protect the vine because they're too hot. And when they do that, they stop ripening the fruit. Now, that doesn't mean they stop it entirely, but on those hottest days, they will try and keep the vine alive and they stop focusing on ripening the fruit. So that's why in the hottest years, even though we do love hot and dry, the hottest years you might have irregular ripening. So you don't have quite as much uniformity, certainly in vineyard blocks. So the hottest years, it can be problematic. I do love hot and dry. That is my preference. But if it gets so hot that the vines are closing their stomata and trying to survive instead of ripening fruit, then things get a little weird.
Yeah.
Not all grapes respond the same. Tannat, for example, if it's hot, it's shutting down. It's not ripening. It's like, peace, you guys. I'm going to survive right now. Whereas like Merlot actually really does like the heat. The Merlot leaves or the vine seems to be much more resilient to high heat. And so extreme heat can cause vines to stop ripening. But you're right, when we're hot and dry, then we are seeing sugars rise more. And as a winemaker, I do love that. I do love the fact that it's going to ripen a little bit faster. I'm going to get a little higher sugar, and then just a little higher alcohol, which brings more weight and more body to the wine. It also means I'm probably going to pick a little earlier. I love to get fruit off as soon as possible. So that's a positive as well.
Before the deer come and all
Yeah,
of
before
that.
the deer come, I will say gosh, what year was it? There was a year that was so hot, not so hot. It was hot and dry. It was like normal hot, drier than usual, and very little hurricanes. And so I hung fruit out as long as I could because I was like, whoo, look at this. I can get this up to 25 bricks. And I'm processing the fruit. And long story short, at the end of the day, I was really disappointed in my wine quality because I felt like I had taken it too far. So
Oh,
I
the
went,
balance was off, or
yeah, the balance was off. So I was much more extracted and heavy, and I lost the freshness of the wine. I'm trying to remember what vintage it was. It might have been 2010. Um, but that was a teaching moment for me because I was like, well, yeah, I got higher sugar, but I lost beautiful fruit expression. It's more like dried fruit aromas instead of
Mm.
Bing cherry. It was
Mm-hmm.
dried cherry instead of a Bing cherry. So what I learned from that is like it's not all or nothing. Like so now I'm very comfortable if I want to bring in some Cab Franc a little early, I understand that I'm bringing it in for the life and the brightness of the wine.
Mm.
But I'm also willing to leave some out to, let it ripen to its fullest extent. But I also understand there is a too far on that, even if it's perfectly warm and perfectly dry. I don't want
Uh-huh.
to get I like the young, fresh, vibrant wines to start.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember what your question was. Soil?
Heat.
Oh, heat. Yes, it was a heat question. It was, yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can be too hot. Vines shut down. That doesn't do us any favors. But as long as we have enough water and we're not spiking too much, the vines do a pretty good job. And my job is to watch the sugar and the acid.
Yeah, back to that scientific thing.
And the tannins in reds, you really are looking at the seeds, whether the seeds are green or brown, because that can really affect the tannin quality of the wine, whether you have green tannins or brown nutty tannins. And it's a spectrum. And as I think
Mhm.
what I was trying to allude to is like, yeah, you can pick two green, but you can also pick two ripe, like
Yeah.
there's both ends of that ripening in a harvest.
So much experience in all of that. Wow. And you've been doing this for 25 years?
My 25th vintage this year.
Wow.
Super excited. We've had
That's yeah, yeah.
and we've had a sequence of very good years,
Mm,
knock on wood,
yeah.
here in Virginia. 21, 22, 23, 24 have all been pretty solid vintages for us. So fingers
Nice.
crossed on 25.
Hmm. Yeah. Have you got a good celebration planned?
We actually celebrated the winery's 25th last year.
Okay.
But it's my 25th vintage.
Okay.
Oh, no, no, I don't. And what's also really interesting, it'll be my 50th birthday this vintage too. So, oh no, no,
Wow.
actually, no, I turned 50 in 26. I'm a January baby. So we might have to put that all into one big thing. Oh,
Yeah.
I did my 25th vintage and I'm 50 years old.
I think that's a plan.
Not sure what to do, but I might
Yeah.
just not do anything.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know, trip to France or something.
Cap Franc will go to the Loire. Sauvignon Blanc,
Exactly.
perfect.
That is on my list. Oh, fun. Okay, so what have I not asked you that you would love to share with us?
We've covered my family, grape breeding, terroir, soil, grape physiology, my favorite grapes. I think I can't think of anything really that you've missed that is in
Um,
the world of.
Events maybe? Do you have some events coming up that you'd like to
Oh,
tell people
sure.
about?
Yeah, we have a lot of so we've been doing Starry Nights for years and years. That's every second Saturday in the summer. Um, July, August, September, I believe. It's all on the website. Um,
Okay.
we also have, and probably one of my favorite things that we do is a series called Supper Series. That's here at the winery. And last year we were bringing in chefs and partnering with chefs, and the chef
Mm.
would be a guest chef and would pair with the wines. This year we've shifted just a little bit and we're partnering with producers. So we had Smoke and Chimneys, which is a trout farm last month. This month we have Polyface. So a lot of like really passionate producers, just like I'm so passionate about growing grapes. They're so passionate about raising trout. And then, of course, we have their product as part of the dinner paired with Veritas wines, and that's super fun. And that's all on the website. So that's, I think, every month through the fall. So if anybody,
Mm.
and it's just, really good local producers that are the top of their class. So it's really
Mm.
exciting to have them here. And they speak about what they're doing, and you can see all the love and passion in what they're doing also. So it's nice to kind of collaborate that way as well.
Nice. And to taste it, you can taste the difference, with when someone's cooking from love and someone's made their wine with love, you really, it sounds stupid, but you really can. You can taste the difference.
And Chef Andy Shipman, who's our chef here, I mean, he's had a big hand in who the producers are, and they're some of his favorites too. So when
Mm,
he's cooking with their ingredients and or their what they're producing, you can tell that he adores them as well. So it's a good series.
it's very cool. Yeah, a lot of our wine campers will be coming in a little early and some are staying late. So uh, they'll have to check the website and
What is wine camp?
I'm sorry, what'd you ask?
What month is wine camp?
It's in July. It'll be the 24th through the 26th are our official events, and then people are coming in early and staying a little late to check some other things out.
It'd be so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. And your website, is it just veritas.com?
Our website is www.veritaswines with an S.
Okay. Wonderful. I'll put that in the show notes and in my social media and everything so people can find you more easily.
Perfect.
Um, okay, so tell me, we're at kind of coming to the end of our chat, but what they're like children. It's hard to name your favorite, I'm sure.
I knew this was the question.
I know.
Keep going. Ask me.
Okay. So what's your favorite wine?
I have two. And just in fairness to all my other grapes,
Mm-hmm.
um, Sauvignon Blanc is my
Mm.
favorite. Um, but I think a lot of that is just timing. Sauvignon Blanc is one of the first grapes that comes into the cellar. So it's the first fermentation, it's the first harvest. It's everything is clean and ready to
Fresh.
go. I'm full of energy. I'm ready for the vintage. And so it just imprints on me every year. So Sauvignon Blanc. And then my other favorite um, has been Petit Verdot for many, many, many years. And for me, that was because it was capstoning the vintage. It was also the last to come in. And so
Ah.
everything was being put to bed. And this is like, oh, it's my last fermentation. And I don't know, I feel like I just have more bandwidth, more time to put
Mm.
into those wines. Um, I would have to say though that I have shifted in the last 3 years, and sorry, Petit Verdot. Cab Franc. I love making Cab Franc. Just everything about it. The fermentation smells, like picking it, working with it, just how it destems, how it crushes. And it's just my favorite to process in the cellar. And it expresses so differently where it is on the farm. I love that about it as well. And so, yep, those are my two.
I love it. Mm.
Mhm.
Okay, so that brought up another question too. So from start to finish of your fermentation year, like your that project of all the grapes coming in, when
Mhm.
do you start? When are you approximately done?
Yeah, so we're usually coming in early to mid-August,
Okay.
and that's sparkling Chardonnay. And then we're usually finishing early to mid-October um,
Okay.
with picking the grapes. And then it's usually about 3 more weeks after that that everything is done and in barrel or tank and put away. So usually by November. So Thanksgiving, things are definitely all tucked away, and then
Nice.
roll into the holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yep.
Wonderful. Oh gosh. Okay, so then the other fun question I'd like to ask is what's a favorite memory sharing wine with friends?
No, I have, it's really interesting because it kind of links to your earlier question. I can remember like vividly sitting when we were living in Florida. This was pre-winery. We're living in Florida. My dad opened a bottle of Cloudy Bay Sauvignon Blanc, and we're
Mm.
just sitting outside, and he poured me this Cloudy Bay, and you just remember it as like the first time that he and I, my parents are European, so I grew up with wine in the household, but I think it was like the first time that he and I just geeked out over together. Do you know what I mean? We were
Yeah,
both
I
like,
do.
oh my gosh, do you get gooseberries? Like, and it's not that Sauvignon Blanc was new to us. It might have just been the day. I don't remember why we were sitting outside having a glass of wine, just my dad and I. Um, but that's why we planted it here. Um,
Mm.
we were advised not to plant Sauvignon Blanc because it's not a the cluster is too tight. It's
Mm.
not a perfect grape for Virginia's climate, but when we got here, I was like, Dad, we have to plant Sauvignon Blanc. Like, if it doesn't work, we'll pull it out. And so we put it up top where the wind is, so that it stays as dry as possible. And I feel like it's been very happy up there. But that's why we have Sauvignon Blanc in our portfolio, is that wine memory,
Mm.
just the two of us. And that was before my parents we weren't talking about having a winery. That was
Hmm.
pre Veritas
What a
wine.
fantastic memory
Yeah,
too that
and
you
not like
share
a
with your
super,
dad.
like it's not a super fancy wine or anything like woo. It's just I just remember it like it was yesterday, and it's always been a
Mm.
part of when I'm making Sauvignon Blanc. I always remember that and our time, and why we're growing Sauvignon Blanc was just all the way back to that day by the pool.
Hmm. Love it. Okay, so I have to ask you, where in Florida?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville. Okay, my husband and I have a home in Sarasota as
Oh,
well.
I love
So yeah.
Sarasota. Sarasota is
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Yeah, I lived most of my life in Florida. I was there until 96, I think. Like
Yeah.
that's where we grew up. That's where my family grew up. And then we moved here.
Yeah. Well, so your dad, your parents having the notion to buy this vineyard, what spurred that? I mean, how did that come about?
Yeah, so definitely, as I said, my mom and dad are from England, so sort of wine and wine culture is life. Maybe erring on the side of Francophiles, and so we just always loved wine. We were always a wine collecting family, and my mom has a very green thumb, and so they had always had ideations of it, but really, my dad came to Charlottesville to do a continuing medical education seminar.
Mm.
He is still a neurologist. He's not practicing, but he was a neurologist in Florida. And my mom was with him, and they just fell in love with the region, the area. And
Mm.
they met Tony Champ, and Tony Champ owned Whitehall Vineyards. And so
Oh yeah.
they were tasting these wines, and they were like, these are good. Like, what? And that was it. I think it was on that same trip they visited this property because it was listed with Wintergreen Properties as a possible vineyard site. And so they looked at it, and that's all she wrote. And I
Wow.
called like the next week. Can I come home to Florida? And they're like, how's Virginia?
Why don't you come here instead?
This is weird, but it was wonderful. It's just been such a wonderful development for our family. I didn't say, but I work with my brother-in-law Elliot, my uncle Bill is our vineyard manager, my brother's my CEO, my parents are still involved on a daily basis, and so it's not only the Veritas family, but it is a lot of Hodson family, Hodson family, all just showing up every day and trying to do the
Yeah,
best we can.
that's amazing. Well, and I'm sure it brings you closer together. It's a wonderful experience, but I'm sure there are days when it's a little difficult.
Oh yeah, there are
Uh-huh.
there are more good days though than difficult days.
Yeah.
Difficult
Yeah.
days I think would exist whether they were my parents or not.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that, that just adds another level of commitment and just.
The hard part, I'd say the most annoying part of having a family business is always talking about work. Like,
Oh, right.
always. And we don't mean to. It's just that,
It's there.
it's there. It always sneaks back in no matter what. We can be at Disney and all of a sudden, we're talking about like the 2007 Cab Franc, and all of a sudden we're back into like packaging oh, did you get that email about that event? Like I would say would be the beef I would have with the family business is that
Yeah.
it's nice just to be family and not talking about also what you work on all the time.
Yeah. 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 It's good to have boundaries, but it'd be very difficult to figure out what they are.
You never mean to bring it up. It just
Right.
always just sneaks right back in. But,
Well,
but then maybe that keeps us close because we always have something to talk about.
Yes. And always something to drink.
Oh, yes, that's true. Oh my gosh. That is very true.
We just run down to the cellar right now.
My dad is my biggest fan. Well, my mom and my dad. So I love to bring them, what I'm working on and ideas that I'm having and problems, things where I'm like, what do you think of this? And he's like, ooh, I'm like, I know. It's fun to do all that together too.
Yeah. And then to go through the trials of it and to figure things out together. And it just makes the victory even more sweet.
Yeah, it does. Yep. Because we've had our ups and our downs, certainly it's all vintage driven. It's nothing other than that and learning curve. But still to this day, we go back to all those stories and they're so foundational,
Yeah.
And so important and so fun to kind of revisit. You remember when we used to have,
Yeah. Is the next generation excited and getting into it too?
They're still young. So our oldest grandchild is 19.
Okay.
And our youngest is 5. She either turned just 4.
Oh, wow.
Quite a range. My sister and I are 12 years apart, so we have a good range. But we're like 19, 18, 17, 16, 7, and 5. And no, right now, my 2 girls, not interested at all. But I think they've seen me kind of obsessed in this job for so long. They're like, well, I'm not working as hard as mom is. But
not at this stage.
there's still hope.
Yeah, there's a long time to go yet.
Yeah, there really is. They haven't, I have one in college, one in high school, and they really haven't formulated their brain fully, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly.
Kidding. Yeah, but no, not right now. Nope. It's just my brother and I and Elliot and Chloe. And we'll just have to let the kids get through school and see where they.
Yeah.
So no pressure.
Yeah. No. But at some point they'll realize, oh my gosh, this is so cool. This is such a great family business and a great opportunity.
Really think they will. It's just why I've been so chill about not needing them to be interested at all. In fact, them to just find it on there.
Exactly. Go experience some life and then, I'm always here, but go experience what you need to do.
Exactly right.
Oh gosh. Oh, this has been so fun. Emily, I appreciate you so much.
Same. I really appreciate you taking the time to do everything that you do of just bringing people together, informing people, helping people ask geeky questions and not geeky questions.
And just enjoy and love the wine in the process.
That's right.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I cannot wait to see you in July and come taste the wines. Because we want to get everybody excited to taste that Cab Franc.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
Very cool. All right. Thank you so much, Emily. I'll be talking with you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye. That's a wrap on this episode of Penny for Your Shots. If you loved today's conversation, don't let the inspiration stop here. Get my weekly insider updates straight to your inbox. It's where I spill behind-the-scenes goodies, exclusive tips, and all the fun stuff I don't always share on the podcast. Sign up now at pennyfoyershots.com/insider. I'll see you in your inbox next Thirsty Thursday. Cheers!